Hello everybody and welcome to the Australia and New Zealand Meta High School Esports League for Week 3. My name is Aj and I'm joined by my fellow commentator Nightstar for this upcoming game, and of course we have our broadcaster Black Neko behind the stream making sure everything runs nice and smooth. Nightstar, how does our first game look to be shaping up?
It should be pretty exciting here. We're going to have, of course, TSM, as many of us would put them as, although, they are Oakleigh Grammar High School. And then we also have, let's see, it was Elizabeth? No, wait, it was St. Monica's College upping. So should be a fun matchup. We'll see, how strategical it does get, but definitely I'm expecting a lot of action.
Definitely will be a lot of action, and there's a lot of reverb coming on your end. Might want to quickly chuck a little quick mute there on the Discord. We are going to have TSM, of course, Oakleigh Grammar High School, going on the red side. They're currently 2-0 in the series at the moment, going up against St. Monica's College on the blue side, which are 1-1. So, obviously expecting a bit of a performance outside of TSM, but of course, still, early on in the league, can go either way.
Yeah, usually the early weeks can be a little bit more one-sided, but certainly as we move further along in the split, that's when things really do get a lot more contested here. As we are getting into pick and ban, so
Indeed
it's
we
time
are.
to see just what kind of fun we're going to get into.
Yeah, looking at the bans so far, looking at topside focused bans at the moment coming from the red side there, Aatrox and Mordekaiser are taken off the board, whereas centered around mid lane mages and potentially support there with the Cassiopeia, Diana, and Zarath from the blue side, followed up by the MF on the red side. And we're getting set first picked here.
First pick set. So,
Yeah.
already lining things up to be really brawl heavy. I would expect us to go into the support role, although when you do see an early pick Ornn, it can also go into that top lane. Has the true damage to be able to eat through some of the resistances offered up by Ornn, so not the worst matchup thrown up top there. And of course, when we come into the bans, you always have to ban the Cassiopeia when there's someone named OG Cassiopeia on the other side.
Oh, definitely. And of course, the Viego now being picked up. Definitely a champion complemented by the Ornn, especially with the ornament upgrades that come later on. In addition to the sheer amount of peel he's able to offer in that teamfight, creating an opening for assassin champions like the Viego, but of course can be counteracted by an anti-engaged champion like the Xin Zhao.
The Xin, of course, has some nice disengage possibilities, also has the ability to dive in. And right now for the set, for blue side here, with this Alawi pick, they're a pretty sit back sort of composition. It's very hard for them to necessarily dive forward super aggressively because the Alawi has difficulty pushing forward in some of these fights, but it does help that the other side does have a decent amount of engage already. They've got Silas, who wants to try and dive forward. They have the Ornn, who wants to initiate long range and then help his team get on top of you. So I don't hate the look coming in from either of these teams so far.
And as we do look towards the second ban phase here, we're seeing some bot-oriented picks as we have, by the looks of it, the tri-lanes picked out on either side. I'm not too sure about the set, though. It could easily be flexed into a support position. Set support isn't out of the meta just yet, as he can be quite good against anti-engaged champions like Leona and Nautilus. Of course, we have the Samira now being picked up. This looks like a very heavy team fight composition on the red side here.
Definitely a lot of wombo set up here on the red side. Yeah, and as you mentioned, like the set very good into some of these engaged supports that have a lot of bonus resistances. such as something like the Leona, who gets damage reduction, so the true damage just blasts through her. Also, something like a Braum can have its merits in those sort of situations as well. And the Jinx Samira matchup, of course, Jinx weaker in lane. Samira not exactly the most lane dominant AD carry, so this matchup can really just go either way, and it will be reliant upon these team fights where we do get to see these champs really break out. And with the Ahri locked in, it does mean we are seeing Oakleigh into that top lane, and it's going to be set into the support role. There was always the possibility Set or Oakleigh could have gone into the mid lane against a champion like Sylas because he is a melee champ, but that does get resolved here. Now, on for our last pick for TSM, we'll see what they round things out with. Nautilus, yeah, pretty stock standard. Not surprising there.
Absolutely not. Definitely pairs well with the Samira being able to follow up with a hard style engage. This definitely looks like the side of TSM here. Oakleigh Grammar School is looking for those hard engages and looking to essentially, once you get in the team fight is going to be all out. And by the looks of the side of St. Monica's College, aside from the Ahri and perhaps the Xin Zhao ultimate, they don't necessarily have a lot of tools to disengage out of any attempts from the side of TSM.
Yeah, it's going to be very reliant on them trying to fight their way out of these things. They have some of the tools to do so, right? You have a set ultimate. If they try and engage on you with an Ornn, you can just lob that Ornn back into his team, and it's going to be pretty effective. Or if a champion like the Sylas or Samira overstep their bounds and offer themselves up towards this set, that's a massive pick potential there in that situation. Of course, with the Oakleigh, if they ever overdive, that's going to allow the Oakleigh to have those big pop-off Oakleigh moments where she can just 1v5. But on initial onset, I do favor the side of TSM a little bit more with their composition, just because of the ease of execution on this comp over the side of St. Monica.
I think this, I absolutely agree with you, and I definitely think that the way this match might shape out is rather dependent on the solo lane performances here. As obviously we have Oakleigh Ornn in the top side. This is a matchup that can go either way, but once Oakleigh hits that power spike of likely going the Divine Sunderer route, or perhaps even the Gore Drinker, it can be quite hard for them to be able to match her with champions like the Ornn. So really, if St. Monica's College able to get the pressure topside that they need, Oakleigh can definitely be a force to be reckoned with, forcing a split push game, which means there's definitely going to be a weaker side for the TSM operation, which definitely want to be fighting together.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. If Oakleigh gets ahead, there's no answer in the side lanes for this St. Monica's composition, right? You have an Ahri who can also side lane relatively well, and on the flip side, yes, you have a Sylas, but because of the fact you have an Ornn, if Ornn doesn't get ahead, your timer to match these side lanes is very, very short. So Sylas can only match one of these lanes, so you're going to be able to push on one side of the map, whichever direction that's going to be for the side of St. Monica.
Absolutely. Or, of course, we could just see a Viego Samira face roll style gameplay where they just run rampant throughout the entire map, and there's just no hope for anyone to be able to stop them, as those are more or less the style of play for those champions. If they get ahead, it is quite difficult to shut them down. Even champions like Sylas as well follow that play style, although they have a bit more room to be punished, as it were.
Yeah, the Viego Samira definitely plenty of reset potential, but we shouldn't forget about the prime reset champion in this game, which is that Jinx. If she gets that first kill, of course they have okay pick potential with the set, with the Ahri, and if they are able to nail that first pick, that offers a lot of team fight pop-off potential for St. Monica. So a lot of things to try and keep note of on both sides when we do head into that team fight phase. But again, we do favor the side of TSM just ever so slightly initially.
Absolutely, and now that Champion Select is over, we are going to jump to a quick break just before the match starts. Don't go anywhere. Hello everybody and welcome as we are now getting into the first game of the Meta High School League Week 3. We have TSM Oakleigh Grammar School on the red side here up against St. Monica's College blue side. You have myself, Adge, on the caster desk, joined by Nightstar. Nightstar, we were talking a little bit about these matchups earlier today, and as you can see, they are grouped and clumped together on the side here of TSM, looking for their first victim.
Looking for their first victim, but unfortunately they are on top of a ward. We'll see what they decide to do with this vision advantage here over on the side of St. Monica's, but it doesn't look like they are trying to group up and initiate on to the side of Oakleigh. And maybe it might be just trying to stop some of these backs if they try and recall in the bush, or
full-on red buff swap, yeah.
It could be a 3v3 down in this bottom lane. They have the mid laner here, and Silas is currently in the mid lane.
On top of them with the face breaker, on top of all of them. But the Viego's taking dangerously low. Can he get the reset? No, he can't.
That's the first reset. That's one.
And then some Jinx rockets. She's getting excited. Takes down the Nautilus after he flashes away all this.
Can she 1v2?
But she's able to do it. She's keeping on the face. She is so excited right now. It is not scientifically possible to be more excited than the Jinx. As she's going to get hit by the Absconded of Ducks, but as we have, no, she's got to back away, surely. Oh, the Cassiopeia goes down, though. OG, all the way through. That is a massive scuffle, but ultimately, Strangey top, very far behind. After that now, still only level 1, goes to his red buff, finds it is gone. So, ultimately, a very good start for St. Monica College.
Yeah, this is a massive win for St. Monica's. Of course, we do need to, refresh our shop here real quick just to get our gold and items updated. But that should come ahead very shortly. But I believe that is a quadra kill for Jinx at level 1, at 2 minutes into the game. By all means, if this happens in your solo queue game, it is, for all intensive purposes, just done, dusted. It's time to go next because that is terrifying to go up against.
Oh, it absolutely is. A 3-0 Jinx is going to be an absolute menace to deal with, especially in a laning phase where you've already used all of your summoner spells in. So if she's able to get a good zap off and just follow up with rocket after rocket after rocket with that lethal tempo bonus attack range, it can just be an outright suffer fest for whoever's in her reticle, so to speak.
Yeah, and the nice part is also the fact that we have a set with a Hex Flash, and Hex Flash set, of course, very, very oppressive in lane. Especially against some of these melee champions who can't really deal with him just hex flashing out of the bushes and getting on top of him, but a 2v2 in the mid lane.
Now, burst damage is there, but not on the side of TSM, and that's going to be Cassiopeia going down. Reset from the Viego on top of him, able to get the knockup, follow it up. Doesn't have the damage just yet. There it is. Can he get the extra reset with the Nautilus there? Yes, he can. That is a very nice pickup there for TSM. Equalizing the scoreboard just a bit, but he dies to the cannon in the end! Oh no!
Yeah. Not much to say there, as we get to see Samira showcase that she is completely fine in this 1v2 situation. But, yeah, going back to that 2v2 in the mid lane, it looks so good for the side of Oakleigh, but then... Well, yeah, you take a little bit too much damage, get a little bit too big for your britches there, and unfortunately ends up being an even trade, which is great for St. Monica's. We'll see if we see more action come into that mid lane here, but I feel like most likely we're going to see a lot more in this bottom side now that, especially once these bot laners get to level 6.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I feel like there's not too many situations there that exist when a support can be flamed against for not using their Relic Shield, because Nautilus there, he had Relic Shield stacks, and he could have probably used it there to save Strange E top there from the minion wave. So, very unique circumstance happening there, as we do have a little bit of a campfire here set up there from Strange E in the top side. They're looking to make a gank on this Alawi before she dings level 6 as they're going in now. Knock up from the orb there, and that's enough burst damage to take them down nice and quick and easy. But is it going to be enough to shut down the Alawi? Likely not just yet.
Yeah, and they really hit that timing on the head, right? You mentioned it, allowing not level 6, so doesn't have access to the ultimate, which is her key 1v9 gameplay, and in that situation will just be a bit of a tax onto this Alawi. Still, not going to be too much of an issue, right? Because she still is going to have the advantage over Horn, but this is a level 4 mid lane.
No heal onto this. Oh, Silas goes down to the Ignite, not able to get the Kingslayer heal off, just out of range there on the Mr. Fish. We're going to have Viego soak up some CS there. Some good attempts coming out so far. But looking at the matchup, it's going to be... It looks like there's 2 solo leaders coming out here from St. Monica College on the RA and the Jinx. Are they going to be able to shut down the Viego?
Now, that'll be the question. However, this mid lane going very, very well for Mr. Fish. As you can see, double the CS and also has a 2-level lead. Silas not level 6 yet, so doesn't have access to the ability to steal ultimates to make his life a lot easier. So that's why this mid lane feels like it's going super one-sided. So it's going to be reliant on Strange E top being able to somehow get into this lane to influence it. He's already tried it once, but More
It
fighting.
looks to be a scuffle happening in the bot side. Unsure if there's kill pressure, though. Yeah, it doesn't look like there is unless the Jinx is able to chase down. Nautilus turning around, but the minion wave is there, laying in the hurt, already taking
Huge
down the
minion
Titan Red
wave.
field. That's going to be a nice... That followed up with a flash. Not able to get in line, though, with the Nautilus E just barely able to slow them down, and the hook flash to get out to safety. It seems like the oppression coming out from the Jinx is incredibly strong, but pings from Strange G top making his way down there. He's circling around. Mist coming out. No flash from the Jinx. Lands a stun on the set. W coming out right away. And that's going to be a guaranteed kill there onto Emo. Unable to get the Jinx as they have made their way well and truly out of the scuffle. Viego doing what he can. Unable to land the Spectral Maw. Will have to back away. No objectives in sight, really. Just going to try and shove the wave into the tower.
Yeah, it will be a bit of a release of pressure down in this bottom lane, being able to get the one kill and also force the flash off of the Jinx. So Jinx now definitely a very vulnerable target in the next couple of minutes. And over in this top side now we're starting to see, you know, Ornn, he isn't really able to clear out these tentacles. So once the soul does get ripped out of him, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to deal with this soul lane pressure. So now we're starting to see St. Monica's College, their soul laners are starting to turn online. It's becoming very, very annoying to deal with. So now Strange E top, he's in a difficult position because two of his lanes are really struggling, and his last lane isn't that far ahead of the other side. So you could say
nice.
Perhaps
Missing, not connecting. Phase rush though on both the champions. Ignite will tick
that's
down.
a shutdown. That's huge.
They could look for the follow-up here onto Mock 3G. Spectral Maw does connect. Why is Silas so far behind? Flash forward, Obscunda ducked. Will connect, and that will be the kill going over there. Nice double kill there for TSM.
Yeah, big pick there. They get themselves the double. That gets Silas back into the game. Yes, he's still behind on EXP and on the minion farm, but Silas, in these team fights, if he's able to get multiple Kingslayers off, that pretty much is just job done. You're not super reliant on him being able to deal the most part of the damage in this competition, because that's mostly going to be reliant on the Samira and on this Viego to be able to get resources and of course transition that into damage later on. But the Silas doesn't need to be super far ahead for this comp to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that we did fail to point out, though, in terms of the strengths of this team composition for TSM, is they excel at skirmishing. And that is exactly what is happening right now, as we have Viego once again going in. It's going to abduct the follow-up, reset going through. And that's a flash forward from Strange G following up with the ultimate. And that's another reset for the Viego. Skirmishing Kings coming out here, as they're able to delay that Herald taking the mid lane turret and continue their lead going forward. Nautilus hook, following up, action doesn't stop. Depth charge onto the Jinx, but there's just no damage coming out from the Samira. They have to back away, but they're slowly going to get picked off. Homeless has nowhere to run. That's an ultimate coming out from the set. He's able to lock him down, finish him off. Samira doing what she can, is able to finally get the Inferno trigger going, but will get finished off by the Jinx. Rocket, unfortunately.
Yeah,
now
Brock able to land.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't good.
That's dead. Oh, that's dead on. Things are going lopsided all over the map for both teams.
I mean, this is sort of the game we kind of expected. Very back and forth here.
Absolutely.
And now it's going to be a dragon fight. We'll see if they actually contest, though.
I don't believe they're going to be able to contest it just yet, but they're still hovering around. They clearly want to look for some kind of fight and engage. That's exactly what they want to be doing. Silas Obscunda ducked, will not connect. Nautilus, though, hanging out. Standing on the wall, going to be able to clear that out. The objective pressure from St. Monica so far is quite excellent compared to the amount of pressure that Strange G top is able to exude around the map, especially towards the mid lane, you could say.
Yeah, and I mean, for the side of Oakleigh, it's been very reliant on Strangey top to be able to influence the lanes, right? So far,
Mhm.
none of these lanes have been able to win on their own. Whenever they've been able to get kills, for the most part, is because the Vigo is in the vicinity and able to bail him out. So far, he has been the linchpin to their success. And over on the side of St. Monica's, it's been the opposite, right? As long
Mhm.
as things remain even number fights, there's no jungle involvement. That's where things look good for them. They've been able to outplay in the 1v1, in the 2v2, and now this time around they will be able to bring theirs in here, and it's not going to look like it's a gank attempt for the most part. It's mostly being able to sustain this wave, able to hold that freeze down there. Although it won't be for too long, right? But it is still going to put the Samira lane in a
It's
poor
falling.
position.
It's almost a good thing that Nautilus hook did not connect there, otherwise that would be a guaranteed death there for the Nautilus most likely, as that would have easily been able to follow up on there. But yeah, as you said, bot lane duo here of Emo and TSM Homeless playing incredibly safe, but not just because of the potential jungle pressure, but just because the Jinx with Kraken Slayer complete is able to poke and harass so efficiently that if they step up too quickly, they will easily take that successful amount of damage. As TSM Hopeless looking for the hook will connect onto the set. That's not the target you want to be going for exactly though. Decent
More
damage
people
from
down in the bot lane.
Looking for tower dive. That's going to be the reset there for the Viego. Meanwhile, Alawi with the hull breaker, making this Ornn dread the sight of tentacles, is just going uncontested up here. He needs support from the rest of his team. Mid pressure as well, actually.
Yeah, this is definitely a rough position for the Ornn. Of course, Ornn has okay wave clear onto the minions, but down in this bottom lane, that should be another kill.
That's a guaranteed kill there for the Viego. Nice 750 gold shut down. But TSM have lost a lot being here in this bottom side without even taking the turret. There's been a lot of damage exuded here in both the mid lane turret and now potentially the top lane turret, as that's going to be a dive onto the Ornn. You hate to see it, and he's going to go down. But maybe a pickup kill here for the Silas. Flash forward into the charm, though. He's going to have a lot of damage being dealt onto him. No slam from the Tempest just yet, but there will be the soul abduction there, and followed up by the orb to take the kill. Yeah, St. Monica College able to get a lot of pressure elsewhere around the map around the Viego.
Yeah, again, it's about playing away from the Viego for the side of St. Monica's. You see that 4-man into that bottom lane, immediately they turn their attention a complete opposite direction, all the way up towards the top side. They find the dive onto the Ornn. Unfortunately, the Xin pathing, not exactly ideal for that situation, and he does give his life up, but they are able to go 2 for 1 in that situation. And it's still these soul lanes getting further and further ahead. And now, on the side of TSM, it feels like you're not given an opportunity to go for these 5v5s, because if you do that, you are just going to lose your base, because 15 minutes into the game, you've already lost 2 top towers.
That's just a dead Jinx, not even really worth the commentator over. Caught out of position, absolutely called the Forge God to help lock that down. Dragon coming up shortly. In about 45 seconds, they might look to be able to contest this. Jinx will be up in time, though, for it, I imagine. Divine Sundra, though, complete on the Alawi, making their way towards the mid lane. Could this be the team fight that St. Monica are looking for, potentially?
Yeah, it's going to be the Alawi headed into this bottom side. We'll see how they decide to move this Alawi now, especially since there's 2 towers gone in that top half. With Dragon coming up, I mean, honestly, you could have just moved your Alawi all the way up topside, trying to threaten an inhib tower, because, okay, well,
On the engage, though, Nautilus caught out by himself, unable to get away. Does have Flash, decides not to use it. Probably a smart decision. But there's a lot of pressure here from St. Monica College around the Dragon. They're chasing down the Viego. He might not be able to get out of this. And if so, that is more or less going to guarantee the Dragon pickup here for St. Monica, giving them Soul Point. Is Viego able to get out of this alive?
Banana Goose Chase.
Hiding in the mist. Will the charm connect? No, he's able to connect it. Damage on his own. Able to take the army out. No, just barely. Not able to get the reset though for the heal. Meanwhile, Jinx chasing down Emo, getting locked up by the Orn, and the Charles gets taken down. It's going to be a run for the hill scenario here for TSM, using the Everfrost to try and stop the Ilari's charging momentum. And that's going to be the Tentacle finishing off Emo, a slow and painful death for the Samira there, as they're going to look to pressure the Dragon now. No jungler on the side of TSM to contest it. They're likely just going to have to give this one, and that's going to be potential soul point there for St. Monica College in the future.
Yeah, and it's also Ocean Soul on the table, so that makes it even more difficult to take down this Alawi in the side lane or even in these team fights. And this Alawi is just such a massive nuisance. 150 CS at 18 minutes. That is tremendous effort coming in from Tokiko, being able to get as strong as possible at this point in time. So now they even throw down the Rift Herald. They should be able to get this. Well, I'm not sure. We'll need to see what the HP is. But
okay,
there we go.
Viego on top of him gets the reset. Are they going to be able to chase it down? Moving forward, Viego really wants to keep that chain going, but unable to do so. No objectives on the map for TSM to really move towards. Just going to try and hover around this mid tower. Everfrost catching him up. Charm connects, ignites, and then the Spirit Rush to dash away. Will spell the end of Strange top there. I don't think TSM wants to continue the pressure that they're putting here in the mid lane. They shouldn't.
Strange top. Encountering
a bit of a strange situation there. Here comes the set, closing in, separating the team 2 on 2. Yeah, locking down Emo. That's going to be a lot of damage on top of them. Unable to get the full stacks there, as that's going to be Silas going on top of the set. With the Haymaker still up, not using it though. That's going to be Nautilus going down, and the Jinx just shredding through them from a distance. Poor positioning there from TSM, unaware of the Viego that just died there in the river, and the following rest of St. Monica there to come through the same approach. This could be an inhibitor turret here.
Yeah, definitely a rough time for TSM. I don't think they should fight for this, but never know.
Should not. That is going to be the tower going down. Searing Charge does not connect there from the Orn. As much as they might want to chase them down, they should just, you know, recuperate, recover, and try and assemble some kind of standing point. As that's going to be another charm connected onto the Viego. He needs to be more proactive in avoiding those. Oh no, is Jinx going to be able to finish off the Viego? Yes, she is! That is just unfortunate for Strangey there.
Yeah, and I mean, this Viego pick, once super far ahead, not so much anymore. And it felt like because of the advantage, he went for a very aggressive build, going for the Kraken Slayer, going for max damage with that additional crit. Maybe even looking to go for the Collector here with that Dirk, hoping that, you know, you get the extra synergy with the double crit items. But in this situation, now that he's not super far ahead, the damage is really starting to catch up to him. So the damage coming in from St. Monica is definitely overwhelming this Viego, and he's going to find it very difficult to find these resets in team fights. It's going to be about him being able to pick someone off on the side.
Absolutely. But as we can see, the sheer objective-oriented focus from St. Monica's College has warranted them a quite substantial gold lead of about 6k. And if they continue to do so, they continue to exude this pressure solely focusing on the objectives, it might continue to net them the win. As you clearly stated, the gold advantage for them is giving them that damage output to be able to get rid of the Viego before he's able to get those resets or get the good engage that he's looking for.
Yeah, now it looks like St. Monica's, they're able to get priority into this bottom river. So still, you know, plenty of time before that Ocean Dragon does come online. But being able to get into the bot side river a minute beforehand allows you to establish vision and really assert dominance when it comes to the vision control We even see this
Absolutely.
at the pro level, of course. You want to be able to get down here at least 30 seconds before, and if you're able to get these red wards down, then it becomes very, very difficult for the flip side, the opposing team, to actually get access to that dragon pit.
Absolutely. And as we can see, there is a vast amount of vision control here for St. Monica College. They are really just all over the board in terms of controlling these objectives. And we're going to have TSM now opting to try and get a trade going for the Baron instead, while we have St. Monica College making their way over now, wanting to put pressure on, except several members staying behind. Mock staying back at the Dragon, guaranteeing the soul pickup here. Pokemon and Mr. Fish
Jinx.
looking to harass outside. Jinx hitting the Orn for all she's got. That's going to be a couple of Spirit Rushes to get away, but Suno's able to finish them off, get the shutdown. Meanwhile, Jinx and Alawi doing what they can. That's going to be a massive gold bonus there for TSM as they get the bounty for the Baron there. But Ocean Soul taken by St. Monica, and especially on a champion like an Alawi, it's going to be incredibly tough to take her down almost as soon as she's finished that death stance as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, this is also a trade that we've somewhat seen as well in the fact that, hey, if we can't contest for that dragon, let's just try and go ahead, snag up the Baron, and that closes the gap quite a bit for them and helps them out considerably. But as you can see in that top lane, it's still a massive gulf, about 5,000 gold differential between the Orn and the Alawi. So this Alawi pick still very uncontested, has the Death Dance, so even with this Baron buffs, it's going to be very difficult to deal with the Alawi because of the additional resistances on the side lane and whatnot. So Oakleigh, they just trying to recoup using some of this bounty gold to close the gap here.
Yeah, we do have the Spirit getting abducted there by Nautilus. CSM Homeless trying to make a run for it as they're just backing away. They don't have the powerhouse of their team composition there, the Viego. We are going to shortly see, though, if Birthright is going to be able to get to level 14. Another Spirit abduction there onto Ilmo. And that's going to be the nice Icebreaker on top of the set there, forcing the flash of Birthright as they're just going to back all the way up to the Fountain Tower, taken on the other side by Strange E, giving them a nice little net gold value. But is it enough when you're getting the Nexus pressure? They absolutely could if they're able to get a decent pickup here with a nice Charm or Spirit Hook. Dreadline coming out onto the set, actually. All the forwards are going to connect, and that's going to be a massive Alawi ultimate, tearing them asunder with those tentacles. And there is just no hope here for DSM, because the Alawi is tearing through them. Is that a quadra kill? That's a pentakill, is it? Oh, surely
no,
not. Someone stole it.
Not the pentakill, but it was
that was such a great performance there from Pico.
That was the fastest quadra kill I've ever seen in my life.
Because
that was nearly instantaneous.
Look, you know what I call that? I call that a 6,000 gold lead on an Alawi versus an Orn top lane. Absolutely stellar performance there by St. Monica College, but also reasonable performance there from Oakleigh Grammar. Early game pressure in those skirmishing team fights from the Silas and the Viego. Absolutely cannot scoff at that. But, of course, that is going to be the first game going, of course, over to St. Monica College. And now we have our MVP presented by MSI and Torrens University. We are going to go ahead and give this one to Tokiko, who just, like, absolutely stellar performance there on the Alawi. Nightstar, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I don't think there was ever any doubt, especially at the end there when the Alawi came down with the ultimate and it pretty much instantly got that quadra kill. But a fantastic performance all around from the lane phase to the end of the game. Of course, missing, it's not like he could do anything about that bottom half of the or mid lane or any of those bot half of the map skirmishes. He just took care of his business, and once it got to that dragon fight, which was really that big pivotal fight, he was there, and he played a very heavy influence in how that fight turned out. So well done to Kiko, and yeah, all around great job coming in from St. Monica to get themselves to, I believe, 2-1 now.
Absolutely, and I do believe we have. We're looking to confirm whether or not we're going to have a player interview. So, in the meantime, looking at that game and the sheer playstyle that we were able to see there, I also want to give props to the Xin Zhao there for the amount of objective control they were able to exude. The team itself had a lot of good cohesion all around in that game, and it does appear we do not have a player interview for this game, unfortunately. So we are going to call it there for the first game and go ahead and head to break as we go ahead and wait for the next game to get started up. Going to be swapping over the casters. I'll be stepping down, and Quicksand will be stepping in and joining Nightstar here. But don't be scared. I'll be joining back for the third game at the end of it all for today. That's going to be the game one. Nightstar, anything to say?
Nothing to add. It was a great time. It was definitely a slugfest, but that's what we want to see here.
Absolutely nothing like a good sloppy fight between a couple of Australian high school students. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere.